So after being disappointed with the recent Mario Kart game being developed by Nintendo EPD and published by Nintendo itself, we were we were very skeptical about trying out Sonic Racing Crossworlds. If the Nintendo team gave us a disappointment of an open world Mario Kart game, what else? We have other kart racing games, right? The Cartridge 2 is not coming until the end of the year because it's still in development and polish. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 is still dead thanks to the likes of what happened to the mixed or average ones, and Bantam had just went away from the kart racing scene to focus on the Hot Wheels games with Hot Wheels Let's Race Ultimate Speed. What can we do now? Well, can Sonic help us out? Well, let's talk about it. While we had other generic racers, which are kart racers like CN Racing and Nicktoons Racing, which recently died back in the late 2000s, there was one character that also had a kart racing genre or an arcade racing game. This being Sonic the Hedgehog, going up the likes against Mario Kart, starting out back in 2010 with the release of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, developed by Sumo Digital and published by Sega. All-Stars Racing is an arcade racing game mashing various Sega characters and Sonic the Hedgehog together. So basically, this is a big crossover Sega kart racing game. While we got some Sonic characters, we also have other Sega characters like BD Joe and Banjo and Kazooie. Yes, Banjo and Kazooie were also in it. When Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing was released, it received mostly positive reviews. IGN gave the console and DS versions an 8 out of 10, calling it a Mario Kart clone that gets it right. Not quite the Mario Kart beater though, but not quite the Mario Kart beater we hoped for, but at least it was an excellent kart racer, praising its natural drifting mechanics. Unlike Mario Kart where you had to hop before drifting, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing nails the drifting by just holding down the drift button. By March 2010, the game had sold over 1.7 million copies worldwide on the PS3, Xbox, Wii, and Nintendo DS. An iOS version of the game was also released. Now, it's also said that the PC version didn't receive good love, actually, as there's no DLC content at all. So that's a big downer. The second game in the Sonic Racing series, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, was released 2 years later in 2012. Transformed is the same concept as the 2010 Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing game. However, it's a lot of a twist. Transformed, as the name implies, will allow your karts to transform into multi-vehicular types, ranging from aircrafts and boats. While many of the characters received overhaul changes, while some returned, some did not. It received a positive reception by both critics and players. This is actually a good spin on what you can do with the karts by transforming them into aircrafts and boats. It's clear that Sumo Digital really did a great job with doing something that's pretty done right. Some other kart racing games tried to do that, but however, some of them have fallen short. There were other Sonic racing games like Sonic Riders and Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, and Sonic Free Riders. But what happened to the Sonic Racing game series? Well, in 2019, Sumo Digital returned once again for another Sonic Racing game titled Sonic Racing, called Team Sonic Racing. This is Sumo Digital's final Sonic game before parting ways. However, even though Team Sonic Racing is still an arcade racing game, it ended up being the worst Sonic racing game in the kart racing genre. Many critics also consider it inferior to its predecessors, the Sega All-Stars games. However, there are a lot of things we have to know. Like, Team Sonic Racing brought back returning Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and All-Stars Racing Transformed tracks. Each split across 7 different zones and based on locations from the main Sonic games. However, what we have is a team-based racing game. Yeah, it's a team-based racing game. According to Metacritic, the game received mixed scores. Screen Rant observed that critics generally deemed it fun, but inferior to the Sega All-Stars racing titles and Mario Kart 8, which were presented better. The tracks were designed well, but still, Team Sonic Racing delivers a fun, easy to pick up and play experience that bolsters to its adequate gameplay and distinct flavors to help it stand out from the rest of the genre. Despite the mixed scores, by June of 2025 this year, it sold 3.5 million copies, and it was nominated at the 2018 Game Critics Awards and the 2019 Independent Game Developers Association Awards. However, this isn't the end of the Sonic Racing game series, as what we don't know is that another Sonic Racing game was in the works. In 2022, Team Sonic, the studio who gave us Shadow the Hedgehog using Criterion Games' renderware engine, began developing a new Sonic racing game called Sonic Racing Crossworlds, with the developers behind the initial D series of the arcade racing games contributing to the project. Sonic Team chose to incorporate both transforming vehicles and extreme gear as a way to appealing to fans of previous Sonic racing games, treating Crossworlds as an accumulation combination of all the games to date. The travel rain concept was inspired by the use of rings as portals in the Sonic Hedgehog film series, as well as the producer's childhood memories of driving through long tunnels and merging in very different environments. The team's experience with developing arcade racers inspired them to make each lap of the race unique to maintain excitement and interest. At first glance, this is actually interesting, and hoping that this concept would be able to work out properly. And it was also said that guest characters are gonna be coming. Are there gonna be Sega characters? No. They're gonna be a lot more different, meaning characters like BD Joe or other Sega characters won't make the cut. After Mario Kart World's disappointment with certain people, many other people who ditched Mario Kart World or not buying a Switch 2 for Mario Kart World is waiting for the release of the new Sonic Racing Crossworlds game. Now, when I found out about the game, I really was skeptical and concerned, hoping that it will meet expectations on the concept. The game was in early access. Development still continued. Now, unlike most other development teams where they were tasked with making games in about 1 year or a few months, Sonic Team, who was under Sega Corporation, actually got a good amount of time to make a kart racing game that is not a shovelware game, and they made a very high quality game. And unlike Game Mill, who tasked small indie teams with making a game in about 1 year and given us an unpolished experience. Sonic Team and Sega actually had a good compromise of getting a very good fair budget and Sega actually gave Sonic Team a fair, great actual much good experience of development. Now now I was actually hoping that we would actually get something that's better than Mario Kart World, and at first glance, I followed upon what Sonic Racing Crossworlds will have. I'm just very skeptical. I mean, we had certain other kart racing games that has characters being locked to a specific vehicle, but all this changes with Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Yes, we had Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, which abandons characters being locked to a vehicle, but now it changed up. Aspects from older Sonic racing games like Sega All Stars Racing and All Stars Racing Transformed is that characters are locked to a particular kart that is tied to them. However, this changes in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Actually, when Sonic Racing Crossworlds was released, similar to its predecessor, Team Sonic Racing, although Crossworlds does not retain the game's cooperative team racing mechanics in normal gameplay, it is now much better than Team Sonic Racing, actually. But what made Sonic Racing Crossworlds stand out? Well, during each lap, you get to choose which type of track you want to go on. The random track or whatever track that is shown on the left or right. Nextly, we have the extreme gears, meaning we have hoverboards now. And there's also another thing. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was developed by Team Sonic Racing using Unreal Engine 5. So this is Sonic Team's first racing game in Unreal Engine 5, and we could tell by its graphical quality. I love how a kart racing game running on an Unreal Engine 5 engine is pretty well and great. I had to give Sonic Team kudos for getting good time in development, where there's no stutterings or no frame rate drops issue. However, frame rate drops can be seen during one of the Crossworlds' kart customization. Speaking of kart customization, here's something that is actually done very well, like Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Sonic Racing Crossworlds' vehicle customization is actually very great, and it's very extensive. You get to choose the front or back of car bodies alongside with customizing your hoverboards, and you can also change rims. This is actually one of my top favorite arcade racing games with extensive kart or car customization. My favorite arcade racing games that has extensive car customization are Midnight Club 3, Midnight Club Los Angeles, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, and the Need for Speed games, the Underground game installments, Underground 1 and 2. Despite them being more than 10 years old, they got great customization and Sonic Racing Crossworlds is definitely one of those cases. this is actually great. Actually, I love it. We also cannot. We also don't want to. We also do not want to talk about the awesome items that we have in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. The items actually very function as well as they are like the Mario Kart items. However, they're a lot more different. I just love them. Like the glove like missile, which can be shot forwards or backwards, bouncing off walls, and later hitting an opponent is actually very nice. Alongside with a bomb that can grow up over time for a few seconds, and I even like how you sometimes receive items from a chow or something. Various of the characters from the Sonic Racing series alongside we got some returning veterans, including some new familiar faces. Alongside with the introduction of the Egg Pawn. Alongside with Vector, Tails, and Charmy and Blaze. That and these are the base game roster. But what about DLC? We also got some guest characters like Alex, Creeper, Ghosts, Hatsumiku, SpongeBob, and Patrick. It has been revealed that we also got guest characters that are coming from Namco and the Nickelodeon universe. We're also gonna be having Mega Man actually. Yeah, Mega Man is gonna be in the game as well. I'm not kidding. They're gonna have Mega Man. We're also gonna be having some other Nicktoons to be added, like Avatar: The Last Airbender and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. To those who are on other social media accounts like Facebook or X, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to tell you that Nickelodeon is abandoning its kart racers IP and wants to work with Sega to add in some of their Nicktoons to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. There is I hope there are some slivers of hope that Nickelodeon will continue on to still have further development with Sonic Team to add in the rest of the announced Nicktoons to the roster. When I first heard about it, I managed to get it digitally. Yes, I know. It was cost of 60 or what else? $40 actually, but I honestly don't care. I just want to race with my favorite blue hedgehog. Yes, I know Mario is my idol, but you guys are wrong. My top favorite idols are the following: Snowy the Bear from another game company. Yeah, another game character which I used to play in my childhood. Super Mario, and thus Sonic the Hedgehog. During marketing during 2025, Sega promoted the game through a Racing Around the World marketing campaign. In June, it was announced that a multi-year partnership with the McLaren Formula One racing team. A promotional short animated by Studio Gigax and Simage Animation was released on August 29th. IDW Publishing, the publisher of the Sonic comic book series, will also release a tie-in comic issue. Crossworlds will include an in-game vehicle decals promoting several other external brands. An advertisement for Crossworlds titled "Come Race on Our Level" received attention for comparing the game's dimensional hopping abilities, the character customization, to roaming around on the open road, and that kart racing game heavily implied to be Mario Kart World, whose open world design received polarizing reception. The advertisement, which was based on a 1992 Sega Genesis TV commercial drew comparisons to the Nintendo Sega console wars in the 1990s. Post-release, Sonic Racing Crossworlds received favorable reviews according to Metacritic. The game was actually recommended in 90% by OpenCritic. IGN praised the game for its fast initiative racing and gave it a 9 out of 10. So here's one question. Is it better than Mario Kart World? Well, that all comes down to personal opinion. While I do agree that Sonic Racing Crossworlds is better than Mario Kart, but honestly, it also depends on opinions in the racing game space, especially those who are into kart racing games or arcade racers. To me personally, I honestly think that Sonic Racing Crossworlds is actually great and better than Mario Kart World in this regard. What Sega does, Nintendo don't do. Actually, I like the concept of Mario Kart World, but it executed short. Mario Kart World execution was done well, but unfortunately, in honesty, it just fell short in this regard. Everything that Mario Kart World tried to replicate, everything from other open world games, has been done short and poor. What it tried to do different was done a lot better years ago by Forza Horizon, Need for Speed, and the crew. You gotta understand why Mario Kart World literally was made. Cause if you look at Forza Horizon, Need for Speed, Test Drive Unlimited, the crew, and BeamNG Drive, they are driving games. We also have to look at Burnout Paradise as well. It's also another open world arcade driving game as well. And we are also looking at other games like Dangerous Driving 2, which turned into Recreation, is also going to be an open world driving game with a twist of riding off the success of Trackmania and Hot Wheels Unleashed. Be fair and honest, for Mario Kart World to succeed, it must be a sandbox racing open world. It certainly did that. But unfortunately, it fell short into trying to be a sandbox open world racing game. When I played Sonic Racing Crossworlds for the first time, I was pretty surprised of how graphical it is, the quality, and how Sonic Team really outdid themselves. Both of the producers, I actually wanted to give them kudos for making this game happen and possible. The designers did a great job with the design of the game. The directors did a great job of directing. The artists and the programmers and the writers and the composers, I actually like their work. This is actually a good kart racing game done right. And this game had a lot of time and development instead of being released in such a poor state. I mean, seriously, I had to give the Sonic team some praise for their work and talent. And a great game compared to Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. While Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 is still rather solid, it had a lot of things that were a lot very broken. Despite it was Bantam Games' first game on Unreal Engine 4, it was overpriced, and it also had a very bad, botched, poor experience. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 should have been made in the Vector unit again instead of Unreal Engine 4 because you know how finicky certain game engines like Unity and Unreal Engine are. But it takes some time to get used to new engines, like the Unreal Engine, for example. I'm sure there are other game engines, but unfortunately, in the landscape we are in right now, how we can't get access to other engines like Ego or Renderware. So Unreal Engine and Unity are the only reasonable logical choices we have to go for. Or unless if you're trying to get the license to certain game engines, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on a license for Ego or Renderware or the Vector unit. But what's to say? Overall, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a huge surprise for me when I bought it before release. I mean, I got Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed on PC and PS3 and on the 3DS. And Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed played perfectly. And when I got Sonic Racing Crossworlds, oh boy, how it gotten the kart customization right to a great level, as of Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3's kart customization did. And I really like it. To anybody who loves Sonic the Hedgehog and other Sonic characters, even SpongeBob SquarePants and Mega Man, I advise you to check out Sonic Racing Crossworlds. But if you don't want to buy it, well, it's your loss. I'm just so shocked, and I'm having a lot of fun playing Sonic Racing Crossworlds, like making mixed up vehicles as well as having fun out on certain tracks and crossing to different worlds. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and see y'all next time. Squeak out.